Out with the lady he married eventually on a date. He came back from his date, went to get in the rack. He's in my bed. It's Sketch. Huh? So you knew Sketch too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, John!
Yeah.
Jason, put the shower on.
Well, and there was the Hamilton too.
What's that?
But Sketch was in B-Back.
Yeah.
He was a cook guy.
Yeah, I never got to meet him, but I hear he was a heck of a guy. A memorable guy.
You sneak by here for a second.
Oh, sure.
Because Harold even mentioned his name when he was giving his speech. It was in Columbia. There were half a dozen people in the room who knew him.
Yeah.
And you're just who he is. We know Sketch. We knew him.
Yeah, you bet.
So who was the other guy that you saw on your phone?
Harold Billow.
Harold Billow.
Yeah, he
I'll
lives in
tell you what,
Mount
that
Joy.
bad day was December 17th. Harold told us this. He'll never forget it. Because December 17th the following year, he married that English girl he met.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And
Wow.
it's also his father's birthday.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, I bet you never forgot your anniversary.
The other thing in all of that, he got shot in his boot. He never got shot to where it broke skin. He was back being interviewed by a reporter, and he doesn't remember who, and he happened to take his boot off, and the spent round.
Let me get that on loud. That's Harold.
And he
what's his
handed
last
it to
name?
the reporter. And the reporter
Billow.
made off with it. Goes and does this stuff. So somebody made a comment, and he started to what happened. He's got a heck of a tale to tell. He had 2 or 3 people there, and he went through the whole thing of what happened that day.
Jeez.
It's like this impromptu history class for anybody who wanted to pay attention.
That's awesome, man.
Right off.
Okay, I'll look this up. I appreciate it, man. And what's your name?
Jeff.
Jeff. Okay. Yeah. Jeff. I'll write that down.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. I'm gonna go check out what they're doing.
Not without coming back tomorrow. Yeah.
So Herbert, you used to drive this truck? This was your truck?
Well, I don't know. It was a truck like it.
Yeah.
So it was a truck like it. We laid wire to different telephones. So, yeah.
All us reenactors are totally irritable about that.
I'm gone. Days going by.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't think well, they still have it, but things have changed just like everything else changed. But
You guys all get in there together. Did you have trouble? Did you get drafted, or did you sign up?
I got drafted.
And then they took you right away, even though your father had a farm.
Well, yeah, but see, I had 2 brothers on my farm.
Okay.
See, and I wasn't working on the farm at that time. I graduated from high school and I got a job in an Armstrong cork farm.
Okay.
And I worked in there night work, and therefore I wasn't on the farm.
Yeah. If you'd have been on the farm, they
I
wouldn't
probably
have
wouldn't have got in. But
Yep.
I told Dad, I said, back there then it was a little different. I said, things weren't like they are today. You know, there was, some guys went in and said, well, we got something to eat.
Yeah.
You know, things were tough.
At least on the farm, you guys had food.
But when I went in, some guys said, well, I joined because I got something to eat. You know, it was tough back then. It was kind of a depression.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just, so I worked in there and then they drafted me.
With you, once you got drafted, did your brothers keep working on the
Yeah,
farm,
yeah.
and they didn't get drafted
No,
then?
they didn't.
Yep.
They were working on the farm.
Reason this is important, I have a friend of mine whose father tried to sign up. His father had a farm, and he was the only son. He was working on the farm. They would not let him sign up.
Wow.
Because it was that important for farmers to keep producing food through the war, both for the home front and to can and send overseas to keep the troops fed.
Yeah.
So a farmer was an essential job. You didn't just walk away from the farm to go fight for the country.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep. And if your grandfather had wanted to, he very easily could have said, No, I'm working at the farm now. I quit the job at Armstrong. Don't take me. And that's what would have happened.
I could have done
But
that.
that's the level of patriotism that was going on at that point.
Yeah, right.
You know, knowing what you
Yeah,
were
right.
potentially walking into, you
Right,
went.
right. There was a lot of fellows, a lot of them volunteered.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, I guess you do today, but that's all volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah. Nowadays it is.
Back there, they
Back
drafted.
Yep. If you talk to airborne guys, that was an all-volunteer force, and a lot of those guys did that because they wanted to be fighting with somebody who was a volunteer, not a draftee. They wanted to be with somebody they knew would have their back.
Right, right,
when
yeah.
things went on.
Right. I guess awards like that won't be fought hardly like that today.
Nothing like that ever again. They're all very different.
Yeah, right.
Very different.
D-Day was coming up, June 6th.
Yep.
Big day.
Yep. That'd be tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I wasn't in on the first wave, I'll say
No.
that. But a lot of them, like said, like Eisenhower,
Yep.
long before, 3/4 of you were going to be casualties.
Yep.
And I guess they weren't.
Well, he wrote 2 letters. One to announce that it happened and it was successful,
Yeah.
and one to resign and announce that it happened and went horribly wrong and he was taking the blame for everything. Yeah. If you guys get a chance in September, 3rd weekend of September, there's a smaller, much smaller version of this at the Eisenhower Farm in Gettysburg.
Oh, wow.
We set up a whole encampment right there, and Harold is talking about coming and being a speaker there, in fact.
There you go. Big red one, that's us.
And bigger
First
one.
Division, that's
Bigger
us.
one.
As you get closer, Eisenhower.
Oh, gosh.
Just like
No,
Trump Piper.
I mean, Germans were just like anybody else. You know, they weren't necessarily, I guess we'd say foreigners, but you couldn't tell them from the same as we are. I'm 90 years old, 92. And I said, you know, I'm running out of years. She said, oh. I said, you know, 90, when you reach 90, you're a suspect. And I said, she said, well, would you want some of my years? I said, yeah, thanks for the gracious invitation, but I said, that's not going to happen. So, that's it. And the guy from there, I forget his name. He's dead. There's about 10 of them that I know. I can't think of all of them. That were within the military. And usually they don't do that, but it seemed like the war required more, and they pushed them through fast. And they even passed a guy that was blind in one eye, but then he got on later on. But they were taking him right and left.
Really?
Well, they weren't just taking ones that were, they could have had a little something wrong with them, but
Yeah,
they took them anyhow.